Hello and welcome to the Leverage Podcast. I'm your host, Paul Richard, and we are welcoming Gary today here from True Fit Dental. Gary, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Yeah, good. It's good to have you on with us today. I'm super excited. You're one of the few business to business folks that I've had on here, and so I'm super excited to hear about your business. But first of all, give us a little bit of your background and your life story so that we can get to know you a little better.
Sure, no problem. So, I am an army brat. I wasn't born here in America. I was born in Berlin, Germany, actually. Lived there for just a short period of time. I really don't remember that part of my life too much, but moved back to Missouri and pretty much been in Missouri the rest of my life. Um, yeah, I come from very humble beginnings. Mom and dad they didn't have much, and so I didn't have much, and kind of pulled myself up by the bootstraps, if so to speak. And ended up kind of running a little bit wild whenever I was younger, until I met Jesus, and then he settled me down along with my wife. Of course, I got married pretty young. I was 20 and she was 19, and we both started serving Jesus and started having babies and raising a family. And so
Fantastic.
yeah, we have four wonderful children, and now we have two grandchildren, which I'm super excited about. They say
Ah.
that you love your grandchildren more. Well, I mean, I don't know about love, but I like them a lot more than my own kids. If that,
I've got three. So I trust you. That's exactly right. It's the same. I have the same
absolutely,
feelings. Yep.
yeah. I'm also a martial artist. I've been in martial arts for 40 plus years. I've actually reached the rank of 10th Dan black belt on June 1st, 2024, which is, you don't see that very often, people putting a lifetime into something like that. So I'm very committed to the things that I do. If I can't do it well, then I'm not going to do it. And so that kind of brings me to my business. Like I said, I met my wife when we were young, and our pastor was cleaning buildings at night for extra money, and he was cleaning a dental lab. I'd never even heard of a dental lab. I had no idea what it was, what they did. I'm like most people back then. I thought the dentist made people's dentures. So they were looking for an apprentice, and he told me about it. I went in there and interviewed, and they hired me. And I've been doing dentures now for 30, 30 plus years. I don't know exactly how many years, but yeah, for 30 plus years. And I just love it. I love making people smile. And, my motto is if it's not good enough for my mama, it ain't good enough for my patient. And that's everything. Yeah. Everything that
Yeah.
leaves the lab gets an eyeball on it, make sure it's spot on and perfect before it leaves. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
I love that. So, if I missed it, forgive me, but did you take over that business or did you launch your own business from there?
No, see, I've worked for all kinds of businesses, for private labs to commercial labs to all kinds of different places, corporate labs. And this is one that I started myself 4 years ago. Me and my wife, we went all in. I mean, that's a story behind itself if you'd like to hear how that came to be.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Sure. So, I got tired of corporate businesses, what I was working for, because I didn't see the passion and the consideration for people that I had in my heart. And so, I was coming home stressed every night about, yeah, you wouldn't believe what the doctor did today to this patient and charged them for this and didn't actually do that. And, just awful stuff. And she goes, why don't you just do it for yourself? You've been making people rich your whole life. Why don't you just try something for yourself? You can do it the way you want it, and you can make sure the quality is the way you want it. And I'm like, you know what? That sounds good, but it's scary. And it wasn't probably a week later that my cousin said, "Hey, why don't you do this for yourself?" He kind of repeated what my wife said. He said, "A matter of fact, me and another business owner would like to invest in you. We want to fund the money for your spot, all of your equipment, your materials, all that stuff. If you go and get the clients, then we'll support you." And I was like, "Oh, you ain't said nothing but a word. Let's go do this." And
Yeah.
so, in 30 years, you build a lot of relationships doing something. And so I went out and I started getting accounts set up, and I brought them to him. I said, we got some big accounts here. This stuff is going to be great. We're going to hit the ground running. And a month before we were supposed to open up, I had made promises. They said, nah, we don't want to do it anymore. We don't want to invest. And so here I am. I've made these commitments. Yeah. And I said, we're going to start at this date. We're going to do it. And then I have no money. So what I did was I'm a man of my word. And so I took out my 401k. We drained our savings. We bought exactly what we needed material wise to get started. And I had, it was all said and done, I had $87 left to my name. That's it. And I was like, okay, God, you said you want me to do this, so let's do it. And so we started. I rented a little spot in a friend of mine's lab, just a bench. And that's how I started my business, was that. And I said, a year later, I want my own building. And it was almost to the day. A year later, I got my own building. And now we've upgraded and moved to a better part of town. We got a new building that we're renovating. And then starting Monday, actually, we're going to go live with our own website. So that's, we're moving forward, and praise God, it's all to his glory. So.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic. Fantastic. Oh, I love that story. What a faith story, and the faithfulness of the Lord in
Yes.
bringing things about like that. And I always say that, I accepted the Lord when I was 17. I'm 63 now. And, he's never left me, to grovel, he's always taken,
Oh yeah.
no matter what. And that. And, so I'm super excited to hear your story on that. What about the dental business? Obviously you said quality is a huge deal.
Hmm.
I've always lived, growing up in the 80s, there was 70s and 80s, there was a thing. Have you ever heard the Japanese word kaizen?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Familiar with that? Okay.
I am.
So
Yeah.
it's constant improvement, right? And so
Hmm.
that's how I've lived my life as well, is always, a couple foundational things. Do things for others, like you're talking about, put them ahead of you, and, that way, and then you can take the risk, right?
Yes.
And in fact, in my spotlight, when I present to the networking groups, I have a slide there that says, do the thing that you fear, and that's kind of the thing. And then I show my third skydive when I jumped out of a plane by myself. And, it was just because somebody said, hey, you want to do this? I go, yeah, I'm afraid of it, but I'll do it, and then
Awesome.
you realize, okay, once you press through, and that's like faith, right? One step in front of the other. And
Yes.
I always say God can't steer a parked car, right? So you got to be
Amen.
moving, yeah, and he'll give you what you need to do on that next step if you trust him. So that's fantastic.
Absolutely.
So relate the quality story back to the dental realm that you're in, and tell us about that, because you've hit that on that several times as we've talked.
Sure.
How does is there good and bad quality in your industry, or what's
Well,
the scoop on that?
there absolutely is. I mean, it's mostly a mindset. Are you patient first? Are you patient forward, or are you profit forward with your
Hmm.
business? And believe it or not, the businesses that put patience first, they are more profitable, because they're not only building wealth, but they're building relationship. Do you want a patient for life, or do you want a one-time patient? And that's where I'm hitting at the quality thing, is that whenever I get a case in the lab, I don't just see a number. I don't see a patient ID. I see a person there, and I want to make sure that whatever I put out is the best I can do for that person. And working in corporate dentistry and commercial labs over the years, I just didn't see that. It was mostly about, let's get as much work in here and get it done as quickly as we can and get it out the door. It doesn't matter if the quality's 50% or 30% or whatever. And it just hurt my heart every time. And my mindset and my heart has always been quality. I worked for a big commercial lab here in town, and they had these monthly reports about remakes and quality control and stuff like that. I Most people in there, they had a remake percentage of about 20 to 30%. Their stuff had to be remade. Mine was less than 1% every time, and it's because I took the focus off of trying to make money and put the focus on doing my best job every time. It actually made the company more money because my stuff didn't have to be remade, and I've
Yeah.
carried that philosophy into my own business. Do it right the first time, and do it as though do it as unto Jesus is what I do. So that's where the quality thing comes in.
Absolutely. Yeah. Work heartily as unto the Lord, right? That's exactly
Yes,
what it is. Yeah. I love
yes.
that too. That's my thing. That's out of Proverbs, right?
Oh, I don't know. I mean,
I think it
I
is.
can quote scripture right and left. I don't remember where it's at, most of them, but I could quote them. I'm not.
I can't remember exactly where that one's at either. So
My
we're
wife could tell
okay.
you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Um, all right. So, and that's interesting. You have heard of Kaizen. Have you ever heard of Six Sigma?
Six. I don't believe so.
Okay. And
Yeah.
just not, this is not a quiz show, by the way, but it's just
Okay.
those things where and you spoke of your martial arts, and they have black belts in Six Sigma, and that it was a program, maybe Google it sometime, but it's six standard deviations of failure rate on production, and it was a program started by Motorola back in the day, and because they basically wanted like 1 part per million failure rate kind of thing on their components and such. So that's kind of what you're doing. You're doing that because it takes less time to do it right the first time than it does to do it over, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Less time, less money, less everything.
Yes, yes, and frustration and all those good things.
Yes.
Uh, so it's called True Fit Dental Lab. What
Hmm.
happens in the lab? Okay, so I'm guessing. I'm going to guess here.
Okay.
Some They take a mold, right? A mold's
Hmm.
taken out in the dental office. Then they send it to you, right?
Hmm.
And
That's correct.
then I don't know what happens after that. Tell me.
So sure, yeah, it depends on the product. But here I'll just give you a denture overview. So just like you said, they'll take a mold of the patient's mouth, they'll send that to me. I'll pour a stone model out of that impression, and then I'll build what's called a bite block on that. It's a hard base plate cured to the shape of the mouth with wax buildup on it to specific measurements, and I'll send that back to them. They'll put those in the mouth and make measurements and take a bite with some material to make sure that the models that I have can go together accurately, like the upper and lower jaw on the mouth does. So that comes back to me. I'll take that and articulate that on a metal hinged articulator, and I'll set teeth in wax. According to, if it's a man or a woman, how old they are, what the shape of their mouth, the shape of their face, any specifics that they would like. And I'll set those up and wax it up to where the wax looks like real tissue, and send that back to the doctor. And that's called a try-in. And they'll try that in the mouth, make sure the bite that they took is accurate, the teeth come together correctly, make sure the patient likes the aesthetics of everything. And if that's approved, then it comes back to me, and I process that. I convert it using the lost wax technique into the hard acrylic denture. And that's a very broad stroke. There's a lot of
Yeah.
particulars that go into that, but that's pretty much how it works.
Wow. Okay. And like, how many of those are you building a month? What's like your throughput per month?
Oh wow, that definitely varies. But I would say anywhere from 50 to 150 full sets a month.
Okay.
Then you have partials, and you have night guards, and relines and repairs and all this other stuff that comes through.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Now, go ahead.
I was saying now we're starting to dip our toe into the digital realm, and so now we're accepting 3D scans of the patient's mouth, and we print print the models off instead of pouring them out of stone and go that route. So it's a whole new
Is that
venture.
like a 3D printing type operation then?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yep.
interesting. Wow. And
Yep.
how's that going for accuracy and final product? How does that seem to be working?
Well, right now, the 3D printed denture market, the materials have not caught up to the technology. So we're not going to be printing dentures. What we're going to do is accept the scans through email. We're going to 3D print the model and then use that as a base for the analog or the hands-on fabrication of the denture. That way,
I see.
yeah, that way, because I have clients that are out of state even. And so instead of shipping stuff to me, they can just email me a scan and it's pretty much instantaneous. So
Wow.
it's really a convenience thing is why we started this.
Has the how do I say it? The dental tooth replacement, market changed the percentage of people that actually get dentures, or is that industry changed at all?
I'm sorry, I got to change rooms here because I'm at my house and someone's at the door. I
Oh
apologize.
gosh, okay. It's
I,
okay.
I
It's
I
okay, no
really
problem.
do apologize. Hang on just a second.
Was that question clear? I don't know. I just because
Tell me
I
again.
see a lot of ads. So I see ads like on Facebook and such where where they put the screw up into your bone and then
Oh
they
yeah,
they build a tooth around that. That's a different
sure.
industry than you're in, right?
Nope, I do that too. Implant supported
Oh,
dentures and yeah,
oh,
absolutely. So,
okay.
and there's a plethora of different implant systems out there. But just to give you one example of something that I do is the dentist will place the implants. They kind of look like wood lags
Yeah,
for lack of
yeah.
a better term. They
Yep.
put
I know what
those
you're
in
talking
the
about.
bone, and then on top of that is called the abutment, and that's screwed into that implant. And then on top of that is the implant parts that are embedded into the acrylic of the denture, so the patient can snap that denture in and then snap it out to clean it and whatever like that. So
Wow. Wow.
yeah,
Amazing, amazing technology. And
yeah,
so I've seen a lot of that around, and I think my dad's in Kansas City. He just had that. He broke, he get a broken tooth, and they did that for him as well.
gotcha.
I'll have to ask him about his experience. I haven't had a chance to talk to him about it since he had it done. And normally, like in the process you were talking about earlier, uh, that's a multi-stage process. It's not. I was thinking they send you the mold, and then you just create it, and final product goes back, but it's going back and forth at least
Sure.
twice, right? From what you told me.
Yeah, because you want to verify different steps so that the final product is exactly what the patient needs and wants. So, yeah, I mean, there
Gotcha.
is a thing called an immediate denture, which if the patient still has all their teeth but they need to be removed, they'll take an impression. I'll pour that up with the teeth still in the mouth. I'll articulate it, and I'll cut all the teeth off of the model, build the denture, and they'll have the denture. They'll take at the office whenever they take out their teeth, and they'll place the denture immediately. So that's
Wow.
a different process. Yeah, yeah. So
So are the dentures primarily done with that screw type replacement these days? Is that pretty much the way it's done?
I wish that was the standard of care because it is the best way to get a denture. I mean, denture wearing is, especially on lowers, can be a little bit cumbersome for people to get used to stay in. I mean, the upper usually builds suction, and so you have that palate to help with that. The lower don't always have suction. You're relying on undercuts of the bone to help hold that in. And so implantology, I wish that was the standard of care for every denture because it takes all the variables out of undercut and suction and all that. Plus, with an upper, you can cut that palate completely out. And so you regain your sense of taste again, which is diminished when you have that acrylic over your palate.
Oh yeah, that's true. I didn't think about
Yeah,
that. That's
yeah,
definitely an impact
sure.
in that. So your new place, where's it located?
It's at 318 North Kansas Expressway. If you're familiar with
Ah,
Springfield, then you know where Paul Mueller's is. We're catty
yep.
cornered across the street from that. And
Okay.
so we got a quite large building, room to grow, and that's why I got that space is because it's a lot more up to date than the first building I had, and better neighborhood. I mean, I hate to speak
Yeah.
disparaging words, but my first lab was at the corner of National and Commercial. Not the best neighborhood in Springfield. I ain't gonna lie, but it's
Yeah.
what I can afford.
I understand. I understand, brother. You just you gotta make it work when it needs to, and
Yes.
so I certainly understand that. I'm in a not so apropos. It's not the neighborhood's bad. It's just the way the building's laid out. I'm kind of in the back basement, so you wouldn't be able to find me very easily. And so I
Gotcha.
understand that. But that's where my podcast studio is going in behind the wall here and everything. So it's going to be great.
Okay. Awesome.
Bottom line. So yeah, I'll have to drop in someday or call you and see if you're up there because I'm doing network meetings in Springfield. I live in Branson, but I do
Okay.
network meetings usually twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays up in Springfield. So that'd be fantastic. Have it get
Awesome.
it. Can you give me a mini tour if I come by sometime?
Absolutely. Come on by anytime. Just give
All
me a
right.
holler. I pretty much live there, so
Okay.
that's a small business owner's life right there.
Yeah, yeah. Are your
But
grandkids local? Are your grandkids local to you?
oh yeah, everybody's local right here, except
Okay,
for
good.
my son Judah and his new wife Ariana. They live in St. Louis right now. She's a nurse, and he's going to school to be a dentist. So
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Keeping it in the family. That's great.
Well, yeah, my son Aaron, I'm training him to take over the lab portion of my business, and my daughter Amber, she's taking over the business side. So it's definitely I'm passing it on to my kids, and they're going to take the legacy even further than I ever dreamed. So
That's awesome. That's very satisfying. And
yeah,
how many square feet do you have over there at your facility?
I think it's about 2,200.
Okay,
So
great.
yeah, yep, yep. Like I mean, it definitely beats the little office bench that I had when I first started.
Exactly. Yeah. Are you able to grow? You have some growth room in that
Oh
facility
yeah,
then?
absolutely. Right
Good.
now we have counting me, my wife, and my son and daughter. We have four people, but I built into where I can add 10 more technicians, and that's my goal is to build this lab to where I can provide a living for 10 employees, a good living. That's my goal for the lab.
Awesome. Awesome. So if somebody wanted to train into that, how would that work? I know you said that's how you got in the business. Basically, you were mentored into it, right? And so
Yep. There
how does that
is
work?
there is trade schools that you could go to learn this, but honestly, the best way to do it is on the job training, like I did,
Hmm.
because you'll learn stuff in school that doesn't quite apply to real world scenarios. And so, learning under somebody that's been doing it for years, in my opinion, is the best way to do it. So,
Ah, very good. Very good. So how many employees do you have right now at the facility?
it's counting myself as there. We're just four people.
Four people, and you're
Yep.
producing 150 units a month or averaging
Yeah.
right around 100 to 150. That's amazing. How long does it take from the time you get the second part of that fitting where it's going to work to actually deliver?
So it again that I mean I can do from impressions all the way through to a delivered denture in about 5 to 6 hours if I had to. But
Wow.
because of
Wow.
patient scheduling, different clinics, shipping back and forth, I mean I only need 3 days in the lab to process it from the wax denture to the hard acrylic. That's what I built into my production schedule is 3 days in the lab. I can do it faster than that, but because of the volume, I give myself some cushion there in case, I get
Sure.
an influx of work and stuff like that. So, but normally with commercial labs, that's basically what I am, a commercial lab. You're looking at anywhere from 2 weeks to 2 months to do what I do in 3 days. And
Very
that's
good.
part of the reason why the Lord's blessed my business is because I focus on quality and I focus on service. And I'm not the cheapest, I'm not the most expensive. Someone told me a long time ago, money's in the middle. And so that's where I've set my prices, and I hammer it with quality and service, quality and service.
That's great. Now, do they have runners that come over from the dental office, or how does the delivery work normally?
Right now, my son, he doubles as a lab tech and my delivery driver. So
Oh,
he'll go out in the morning and do my runs. I have clients all the way from Branson to Nevada, Missouri, and he makes runs back and forth all the way through there. And then I have clients that are farther away, and so like Farmington, Missouri, I have a client there, and then Springfield, Illinois, I have a client there, and we ship stuff back and forth.
that's what I wondered. Okay, so that
Yeah,
makes sense in that. So really, you can. That was my next question. Actually, is what's your service area? And literally, with the delivery, you can go anywhere. Doesn't matter.
absolutely, absolutely. It's not really feasible a lot of times though for the dental clinic, because I mean, if I there's so many dental labs out there, and there's a lot of good labs out there, and I'm sure anybody in New York City or California can find a local lab that can service them without having that 4 to 6 day shipping time. So
Yeah, yeah,
I really
absolutely.
focus on, yeah, I focus on like the tri-state area here. I haven't really tried to go outside of that to try to get business, and honestly, I haven't really solicited business at all since I started. It's just been word of mouth from my clients to their friends and their friends.
So in that world, I'm just curious. Do you have any idea what your market share is of, let's say, Springfield area?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't really focus on the pie charts, so there's plenty of work for everybody.
Yeah, yeah. I was just curious
Yeah, I don't
about that.
know. I mean, I have a pretty tight knit group of different lab owners and stuff that I meet with, and we're friends, and we help each other out. Outside of that, there is a ton of dental labs in the area.
Interesting, interesting.
Yeah.
So the demand is high, and the
Yes.
supply is high as well. Very good, very good.
Yeah.
And what you mentioned a couple of things like the scan is now going to almost a virtual thing versus having a
hmm
physical, piece done. Are there any other innovations coming down the pipeline that you see in your industry?
So I just launched a new line of dentures called, I'm calling it the True Life denture.
Oh,
And what I do with that is it's the absolute top of the line denture teeth and acrylic, and at the end of the process, I hand layer the colorization of real natural tissue and contours with ceramic composite material on top of that denture, and it actually looks and feels like real teeth.
wow, wow,
Yeah, I'm
that's cool.
I'm,
So
I'm pretty
that's
excited
the
about it.
yeah, yeah. So that's a new technique. Is it like a you say what's the coating made of?
It's a ceramic composite blend. It's called
Ceramic composite.
Gradia Plus, and then for the final, it's a OptiGlaze Clear. It's kind of like getting a clear coat on your car. This, instead of just polishing and high shining a denture acrylic like everybody else does, this lasts longer. It seals the denture, and makes it way more odor and stain resistant. So
Wow.
yeah, yeah, I'm super excited. I've done a few of them since we launched this, and it's starting to gain traction. People are recognizing how good these dentures are, and so they're telling their friends, "Hey, you got to try this out," And so I'm really excited about it. I love doing the artistic stuff on these.
Sounds like it, man. It's a yeah, that's pretty neat. And that is it like a I don't know, is it like an epoxy like it has a
It
part A, part B and it cures, or how does that work?
So what you do is you have to prep the denture very specifically, and then you paint a primer on it, and it everything's light cured. So the primer light cures for a short period of time. Then you start layering whatever colors, whatever contouring you want on that, and you're light curing it in stages. And then the final stage is that clear coat that goes on there. It makes it look like glass, makes it look wet the whole time.
So it's UV cured then?
Yes. Yep. That's correct.
Okay. Very cool. I mean, it sounds like a jeweler making a ring or something. I mean, it is more
It
detailed than
honestly,
I
we
thought.
have a lot of the same tools and the same polishing mediums and stuff that a jeweler would have. A jeweler could come in and work right beside me with the same tools and stuff and do just fine.
Interesting. Yeah, so interesting. Wow. Well, Gary, it's been great having you on the the podcast today,
I
man.
had a blast. Thank you so much.
It's good to learn more, and it's a pleasure. I hope you have a great weekend, and we'll talk with you very soon. Okay.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much.